Kings once banned coffee because it made people too smart. That's not a joke. Real rulers feared that one drink could lead to revolts, rebellion, and revolution. A cup of coffee was seen as more dangerous than a sword. But why? What did coffee do to make powerful kings panic? Stick around, because the truth is way stronger than you think. Let's go back to the Middle East in the 1500s. No phones, no newspapers, no TikTok. But something new was spreading: coffee houses. And what happened inside those places? It terrified the government. One king even sent spies to listen in. And what he heard changed everything. Back then, your daily drink wasn't coffee, it was boiled water, or beer. People woke up groggy, went to market, or worked long hours in dusty streets. Life was slow, sleepy, and quiet. But then came this bitter, dark, strange-smelling bean drink from Ethiopia. At first, only Sufi monks used it to stay awake while praying all night. But soon, ordinary people started drinking it too. And once they did, they woke up, in more ways than one. The story begins in cities like Mecca and Cairo. Coffee houses popped up on every corner. Men sat for hours, sipping cups, talking about politics, religion, and rebellion. He called these places schools of the wise. The government freaked out. One ruler screamed, "They sit all night, plotting against the crown, drunk on coffee." Some kings said it was a drug. Others called it a drink of devils. And so the bans began. And it wasn't just talk. Some rulers believed coffee caused excessive thinking, which they saw as a direct threat to loyalty. One scholar even wrote that coffee turned peasants into philosophers, and philosophers into revolutionaries. Even worse, people started writing poems in coffee houses, mocking their rulers, laughing at clergy, and imagining a different world. No throne is safe when the people are thinking, laughing, and questioning all at once. That's why the punishments weren't light. In some places, if you were caught roasting coffee beans, your shop was burned to the ground with the door nailed shut so you couldn't reopen. Coffee wasn't just banned, it was hunted. Why did it scare kings so much more than wine or beer? Because beer makes you slow. Coffee makes you think. The story continues in 1511, Mecca's governor issued a full ban on coffee. His reason? Coffee made people bold, noisy, and disrespectful. In other words, it gave people a voice. Some religious leaders claimed it was haram, forbidden. Others called it a miracle drink. The city split, and when the ban went into effect, protests exploded. Meanwhile, in the Ottoman Empire, things got violent. The Sultan, Murad IV, banned coffee in Constantinople. First offense? You'd get a beating with a stick. Second time? You'd be thrown in a second drowned. Literally, for coffee. And Murad IV wasn't bluffing. He built a network of informants, barkeepers, street sellers, even children, who were paid to report coffee drinkers. The city lived in paranoia. A neighbor could disappear for sipping too loudly. Some coffee houses built false walls and hidden compartments. Others had lookouts on the roof, watching for soldiers. It was like a game of cat and mouse, with your life on the line. Even worse, coffee sellers went underground. Secret shops popped up in back alleys, hidden behind carpet stalls. It was like a medieval version of a speakeasy. Knock twice, say the password, get your brew. In England, King Charles II panicked. He saw how coffee houses were buzzing with talk about liberty. He wrote, "Coffee houses are full of idle and disaffected persons plotting mischief." He tried to ban them in 1675, but the public exploded with rage. The ban lasted just 11 days before the king backed down. Things peaked in Constantinople. Murad IV personally dressed in disguise to hunt down coffee drinkers. Yes, the Sultan went undercover to catch people sipping lattes. When he found one, beheading on the spot. There's even a story that he once followed the smell of roasted beans to a locked room, kicked in the door, and found two merchants whispering over a single cup. He didn't say a word, just drew his sword. In Mecca, clerics declared coffee a threat to Islam. In Venice, priests said it was a satanic brew. And in Ethiopia, where coffee came from, rival tribes fought wars over it. The bean had become a battlefield. The Pope Clement VIII was asked to ban it. His advisors said, "It's the Muslim drink of hell." So he took a sip, paused, and said, "This Satan's drink is so good we should baptize it." One historian even said, coffee didn't just survive the church, it converted it. After that, coffee didn't just survive, it took over the world. In France, People drank it while planning the French Revolution. In America, it became a patriotic symbol after the Boston Tea Party. And in the Ottoman Empire, coffee bans finally collapsed. One sultan made a law that banning coffee was now illegal. Yes, you could be executed for banning coffee. That's how far the pendulum swung. The drink that was once banned became the fuel of enlightenment. And today, it's the first thing millions of people reach for every morning, without even realizing they're sipping a drink that once terrified kings. So yeah, coffee was once seen as more dangerous than a sword, because it didn't just wake people up in the morning, it woke up their minds. And if you think that's wild, wait until you hear about 7 medieval jobs that were worse than death. Click here to see for yourself.